the thing is, I do believe there was talk about these things. I believe if we study history, you know, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, you know, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online.
Google it
They
yourself.
spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, you know, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge wingling. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so,
what I'm saying is Jesus wrote a dinosaur to work. That's history. It's in the Bible. How to Train Your Dragon.
Historical facts.
And if you don't believe it, do your own research. Pull up Google. You'll find the picture, I promise.
Oh my God.
Thank you, John Gleason, Godless engineer, for gifting me this beautiful moment. Y'all remember when they tried to cancel Steven Spielberg for posing with an animatronic triceratops animal rights activist?
Back it up.
Hit it from the back.
Cloaca. Historical facts.
Eat my ass, BP. You're down here bailing on the rest of us because you don't want to process your grief and shame like a normal person by drinking and mistreating strangers.
No, Rick. It is you who must nibble my cloaca, or bird asshole.
Everyone knows what a cloaca is.
you know, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, you know, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It's a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so,
Paul Bunyan was sharing some Funyuns with his pet velociraptor.
Whoa.
Oh, you thought it was an ox? Roll back the clock. Let me knock the socks off. Historical facts.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. You a pervert or something? Okay.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I know it's been a while since I've done a regular Friday night stream, but tonight we have a video that supposedly has the most unique argument for God's existence. Now, I don't think that it's unique at all. It's probably actually from, like, I don't know, the 11th century or something like that. But the point is that the guy presenting the information thinks that it's the most unique argument for God's existence. So we're going to be looking into that tonight, as well as touching on some news topics, as well as some comments. And I hope that you guys are here for it. So, if you will, sorry, it's been so long since I've done this. It's been, need to get back on track. So if you want to fuck around and find out what the most unique argument for God's existence is, then please stay tuned. All right, heathens. So tonight we do have some news. We got some comments to cover. I did think about bringing Josephus on, but I think that he's a little tired back there. So I think that maybe we'll work him in either next week or the week after that. But, you have been blessed by Christ. Now go forth and suck my dong. Yeah. There's Josephus. That's right. Daniel M says, David says good night. Yesterday was your birthday, Daniel. Happy birthday there, Daniel. My birthday is actually next weekend, so I'm gonna have to figure out what kind of stream I want to do next weekend. But yeah, happy birthday, and I hope David has an awesome night. David, I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I hope y'all are doing great. So, like I said, we do have some news stories to cover, and that's something that actually kind of really motivated me to get back to our regular streaming schedule, because I feel like the news is quite important, and we need to be discussing all the new developments that are kind of happening in the news and all that other kind of stuff. So, we're going to go on ahead and get to some Today I Learned. my banjolele has never left my side. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Even if my lazy ass is sitting, it's right there next to me. All right, here we go. Today I learned some new shit that I don't want to know about. Woo! Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. A little bit of a preview for what's to come up on the news a little bit later. Okay. Let's get on over here. News item number 1. All right. So today in the news, The Onion is buying Infowars. This week, The Onion bought all the liquidated assets of Alex Jones's Infowars. I can't talk tonight. I'm so sorry. The Onion plans on relaunching the site with new comedic writers, but the process for producing Infowars satire will not change at all from what Alex Jones was doing before, and that's basically crushing up the Infowars supplements and forcing the writers to huff from Alex Jones's asshole. Alex Jones says that this is a government psyop, and they're not really doing it, but the Onion responded with, "Yeah, we're totally doing it." So I thought that was really funny that The Onion bought Infowars and is going to continue to produce satirical content under Infowars. Like, not to replace The Onion, but to add to The Onion. And Infowars is now going to be a satirical site.
I don't know if y'all know this, but when you get to heaven, your moral actions are not judged. You're only judged for believing in me. Thank you.
Elizabeth Richardson says, welcome back to Fridays, and I guess onions are really making Alex Jones cry. It kind of seems like it, doesn't it? He looks very perturbed by all of the oniony news surrounding his Infowars. Oh, man. Next up is Matt Gaetz. I don't know if y'all have heard about all of the wonderful Trump picks. We're going to be talking about 2 of the Trump picks tonight. First is Matt Gaetz. Recently, Donald Trump has selected alleged child rapist and trafficking aficionado Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Even Republicans have an issue with balancing their support for law and order and allowing people to break the law and get away with it, especially in the case of Matt Gaetz and fucking children. I guess for conservatives, protecting pedophiles and rapists is more important than sucking the dick of the law and order on the daily. The ironically named Mike Johnson has stated that it is a bad precedence to set to consider the character and legal nature of an incoming attorney general's actions. He said that basically this is not what the House of Representatives does. And I can only imagine that that means that they don't point out child rapists that get elected to office. They just prosecute those they can easily prosecute. Obviously, Mike Johnson wants to shield pedophiles from the law and from the law and order crowd that he mentally masturbates with on the daily. So that's the AG there that Trump has selected, the dipshit. On to another pick, and that's this buffoon right here. Conspiracy theorist and general crazy person Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been picked by Trump to head up the Department of Health and Human Services. Ironically. Just like the child rapist previously mentioned and the guy who refuses to wipe his own ass, Hedgeforth, I don't know. I just know that he needs to wipe his own ass and wash his hands after he does it. This is another shitty pick for a department head. Since he was selected, it's come out that he would stop all research on drugs and infectious diseases to focus on chronic illnesses. And if you don't believe me, there's actually a video. Sorry, I got it right here. Hold on.
I'm going to go to NIH my first week. I'm going to call all the division heads and I'm going to call all the bureau chiefs. And I'm going to say, we're going to give drug development and infectious disease a break, a little bit of a break for about 8 years. And we're going to study chronic disease.
Sorry, that one right there is not meant to be seen just right yet. But I can resize it. Maybe. Well, come on. There we go. Okay. So yes, Robert F. Kennedy wants to put a hold, an 8-year hold on developing new drugs and investigating infectious disease as part of the changes that he's going to make at the Department of Health and Human Services. Nothing screams like Health and Human Services like preventing us from being protected by infectious disease and developing new drugs to combat said infectious diseases. I kind of feel like this is a sacrifice the weak moment, and Donald Trump definitely wants to sacrifice the weak of America, meaning about probably 35% of the people that voted for him. He just wants them to die for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, that's going to be it for Robert F. K. Crazy Pants today. Next is this jackass, which we've already seen a little bit of a video about. Ryan Walters, the Bible is back in schools. The Bible's back in town. I don't want to get my ukulele. Yeah, the Bible's back in town. Whatever. White Christian nationalist Ryan Walters, seen her explaining to elementary school girls that they are now property, just like God wants them to be, recently received 500 Bibles to force into AP history classes. If they are going to be consistent with the Bible, though, then they should probably be teaching people how people from other countries can be bought and sold as slaves. Also, they will have to explain to small girls how their fathers now own them, and they can sell them off to prospective men, like men 18 years or older, who can purchase prepubescent young girls because of what the Bible says. I guess in Oklahoma is what they're going to be doing now, or at least that's what they're going to be teaching them in the classroom. Or if they want to be consistent with the Bible, they should be teaching them that. But in any case, I bet that they that in the classroom they're going to be separated by gender, and then they are also going to have the entire class stone the gay kids to death. I can only imagine that would be the purpose of putting the Bible into an AP history class, to teach how gays should be stoned, and not in the good way. But don't worry, God's cool with it. So, I mean, you're not really committing murder, are you? But anyways, if you don't believe me that Ryan Walters is doing this, again, we have a video. Come on there, Ryan. You can show up on the screen. Maybe. Maybe not.
I'm going to go to NIH.
Okay, there we go. Finally. I don't know what took it so long.
We got a new member.
Actually, that was just a member chat. Yeah, it registers as that for whatever reason. So we got Jonathan Hanchak, member for the nicest amount of months, 69 months, who says it's...
Woo! That's KC's money.
That's your money, honey. $2. You can buy you one of them scratch-offs. Jonathan Hanchak says it kind of sounds like they're going to be starting up from the last book of Harry Potter, where they're using the crucifix killers on the younger kids. Hopefully this makes sense. Kind of, I do remember watching the last Harry Potter movie, but it's been a while. Daniel M. says not just any Bible, the Trump Bible specifically. That's right. They are using the Bible that's endorsed by Donald Trump, which is the God Bless the USA Bible. The reason why they are using that is because it was gifted to them or some kind of thing. But we have Ryan here that's going to explain it. So let's listen to Ryan. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought that I had read that they were given money for it instead of spending taxpayer money. So they spent taxpayer money for it. Well, I knew that they had passed a budget that had $6 million for it, and then they reduced it to just the AP history classes or something. Oh, they billed the State Department of Education? Okay, so the taxpayers did pay for this. Oh, awesome.
We are excited to announce a new office here in the Oklahoma State Department of Education. That will be the Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism. For too long in this country, we've...
Wait a second. The Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism? No, we can't have equity, but we definitely have to. We've definitely got to acknowledge the dead Jew in the room. Okay, that's. There's no way that we can do anything else other than acknowledge the dead Jew.
This person just donated a whole bunch of money. You might want to give them some attention.
Oh, Danny says, I hate hearing the fucker's name. I call him Dump now. That actually makes a lot more sense. I'll call him Dump from now on. From henceforth on this stream, we shall know Donald Dump as Dump. Just saying. Anyways. All right. So, doesn't this sound just a little bit like 1984-ish here? Like, oh, we've got an Office of Nationalism. Well, patriotism is what he called it. I feel like this is incredibly just disgusting. Like this right here is so fantastically white supremacy, or white Christian nationalisty that it's disgusting. I would not feel right about having like an office of patriotism. Like that sounds like something straight out of a future fiction novel.
We've seen the radical left attack individuals' religious liberty in our schools. We will not tolerate that in Oklahoma. Your religious liberties will be protected.
Your religious liberties are already protected. You can carry a Bible into school. You can read the Bible on your own time and everything like that. We just can't have teachers pushing the Bible or any one particular religion on any of the kids because public schools are meant for the public. Sorry, I just felt like that needed emphasizing. It's for the public, which isn't necessarily strictly only Christian. Dumbass. Yeah.
We've also seen patriotism mocked and a hatred for this country pushed.
No. Patriotism is disgusting. Like in the way that they have, because it's not really patriotism. It's more nationalism. I feel like nationalism is more disgusting than patriotism is. But the way that the right has been pushing quote unquote patriotism and nationalism, that's disgusting. And yes, that should be mocked because you should not adhere to nationalism because, I mean, that's basically what Hitler did, right? Hitler did it, and I feel like maybe that's a slope that you could slide down into the abyss of Nazism. And I feel like that's where this fuckhead right here would definitely take a slip and slide across broken glass to get to.
By woke teachers unions. We will not.
Woke teachers unions, they consider kids of all faiths and colors. We only care about the white ones. I feel like that's what he actually meant.
Not tolerate that in any school in Oklahoma. We want our students to be patriotic. We want our students to love this country.
No, there's a difference in loving your country and being patriotic and being nationalistic to the point where you want to phase out everybody that doesn't look like you. And that's exactly what not only you, but also all of your Republican dipshit counterparts want to do across the country. Everybody that you're pandering to right now wants to weed out non-white people. That's all that you want to do. And non-Christians. Yeah. That's a good point there, honey. If you want people to love the country, make the country worth loving. Accepting diversity, equity, and inclusionary, not only rhetoric, but I guess language and just practices in general. That's how you get people to be patriotic, not this fucking Christian white nationalist bullshit that you're pushing.
And we want all students' religious liberty to be protected.
No, you don't. You want Christians. You want all students to have the ability to be Christian. That's what you actually mean. That's not what you're saying. Obviously, what you're saying, people that are going to be apologizing for you, and not like saying I'm sorry, but like people that are going to be making excuses for you are going to say, oh no, he wants everybody to be able to have the same, ability to worship however they want to. If that were the case, then he would have not just bought Bibles. He would have bought Qurans. He would have bought whatever kind of holy books make up the constituency in Oklahoma. That's what he would have bought. He would have bought the full swath of fucking religious books. But what did he buy? He bought that Lee Greenfuck's Bible that Trump has endorsed and that mixes both patriotism and Christianity to make a white Christian nationalist hand guide or handbook kind of thing.
I will now say a prayer.
Hey, just wanted to say you don't have to be a good person to get into heaven. You just got to suck my dick.
That's right. You just got to suck my dick. Jesus' dick. Eric Mishima says, I don't know what the real chat goal thingy is, but here's some money. All right, so YouTube has started this special chat goal thing. If we get 15 super chats of $5 or more, then I'll dedicate some time tomorrow at some point to do a special response stream. I've got a video picked out that it was one of the videos that could have been picked by the mafiosos, and I do have a little bit of time tomorrow. Instead of doing a game stream, then I will do a quick response stream for you guys. So if you want to see that, then definitely hit up those super chats.
Clear, students, you don't have to join, but if you so wish, I'm going to go ahead and pray.
Nope, I don't really care about you praying. I'm going to actually wait until you look up to God's ball sack in order for me to continue, because I really don't care about your prayer. You can pray however you want to. This is not me making you stop praying, although I will say that you're doing this from a government office on government time, and you're praying to one specific God and not just some sort of like moment of silence or something like that to where anybody can pray at all. So you're definitely pushing your particular religious views on the entirety of the Oklahoman constituency, and you're doing that using government funds. So maybe this should be investigated by the government, but they won't, because the government's in control of fucking dipshit conservatives. So nothing's going to happen because they feel like this is good, wholesome American fun right here, when in actuality it's abusing government resources, government time, government property, and all that kind of good shit. But they don't care about enforcing law and order on people like this dipshit right here. They only care about enforcing law and order on people they disagree with, mainly those of minority groups and those that support minority groups. So Ryan Walters can go fuck himself right up God's asshole with this. Yep, that's how we're going to do it with any of these dipshits. They can go and sniff God's asshole if they want to. And it seems like he's taking an awful long time to sniff God's asshole.
Amen.
Arguments for
Amen. Okay, and then that's the video response that we're going to do tonight. But we're not doing that just yet. All right, so Bibles are back in schools, and apparently Ryan Walters is going to teach your daughters that they are now property. They should be sold by their fathers to their future husbands, who are more than likely about 12 years older than they are. So, yeah, if this creepy guy right here makes you want to vomit a little bit in your mouth, that is pretty much everybody with a reasonable sense about them today. There you go. All right, fuck this guy. Okay, well, that's going to be it for the news segment tonight. I hope that you guys are thoroughly disgusted, just as I am. And now we are going to be getting on into the comments. As soon as I can get this changed over. I forgot to do this before we began tonight, and that's why I'm still talking. Okay. All right. Y'all know what we do here for the comments. Y'all ready for the comment? Honey, you ready for the comments? Okay. Comments of the day. Prepare to facepalm yourself into next week. God damn. I really need to get back into this shit here, huh? Okay, let's see. That's off. That's on. Awesome. Great. Here we go. Well, come on now. Show up on the screen. Oh, is it not? There we go. Okay, that's why. Awesome. Okay, so first up, now I took a lot of these comments from like over 2 years ago, actually. So a lot of these might seem a bit out of date, but you know, they're still applicable, I think. So this is on my video against Eric something fucking or another. I can't remember. The virgin birth wouldn't be accepted by Jews. And I was responding to him on this. And Avery Tompkins says, God loves you enough to send his only son to save you. And if you repent and turn from your sins and be baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, if you haven't. Way to come off there is completely sane there, Avery. You're asking me to appeal to a dead Jew, his father, and I guess his spirit, the Holy Spirit, some kind of ghosty thing that may or may not exist. Actually, all three may or may not exist. We really don't even fucking know. But hey, you want to appeal to? So we got a new member. Nope, Mark just sent in a member chat. Mark says G has been gone too long. He's forgotten how to do all the things. It's a sign that he shouldn't abandon us like that. We all miss this too much. I'm so glad that you missed it there, Mark. Obviously, my viewer numbers right now are saying, you know, we've moved on. But I'm so glad that you guys are here. I really appreciate everybody being here, and I'm glad that y'all are appreciative for me, you know, getting back to my normal schedule. Which next week's my birthday, so we'll have to figure out some kind of special thing to do next week for birthday stuff. I don't know. There's supposedly something happening the entire weekend next weekend. We'll have to see. But anyways, so we're having a party apparently. So Avery wants me to give myself to Jesus. I guess that can only mean that he wants me to bend over and spread them cheeks so that Jesus can definitely motorboat my asshole. But I don't think that I'm going to allow Jesus to do that. That would be some kind of violation of my personal space and also my consent. So no, sorry, Avery, I'm not going to allow Jesus to do that. And I need to get myself a rock star real quick. Hold on. Starry, huh? I thought she was starry. You're welcome. Yep, sorry. I should have gotten my rock star beforehand, but gonna need it for this shit. Yeah, I know. All right. Now I'm all energized up for this bullshit. Let's get back into it, shall we? So I'm going to have to manually change all of these today, so it might take me a second to actually get stuff changed over. So this person says, if you can be gay, then you should be able to be unvaccinated. See, this is what you would call a non sequitur. And typically dipshits make these kinds of arguments, and this guy's definitely a dipshit. Because obviously they have a dolphin and, what is that, a peacock in their name? I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm guessing he's peacocking like a dolphin, and that means that he's probably raping a woman. But so basically, if you could be gay, then you should be able to be unvaccinated. One, you can't choose whether or not you're gay or straight or anything like that. That's not a choice. That is just something that's dictated by your very being, okay? not a choice for one. For two, unvaccinated. Being vaccinated or being unvaccinated is a choice. You can choose to not be vaccinated if you want to, but more than likely you'll be ostracized from society because only normal individuals will get vaccinated. If you're an abnormal individual, meaning that you would prefer not to be vaccinated, you would rather be unvaccinated, then I do think that you should be sequestered from society because you are a walking time bomb that could explode in an infectious disease bomb. So, I mean, I think that neither of these things are connected. They're non sequiturs, and maybe you should get off of Twitter for more reasons than just this. I feel like Twitter's a cesspool of shit right now, and it will continue to be a cesspool of shit as long as Elon Musk owns it. So, I mean, I don't think you should be on Twitter in the first place. That's why I'm on Blue Sky. Well, also Threads and a many number of other platforms. But Blue Sky is my newest thing that I've started posting on. So it's just at godlessengineering.com over there on Blue Sky. You can find me over there at that. I'm fancy like that. I got my own like little Blue Sky name and shit. That's a .com. Anyways, all right, let's move on. We're gonna move on to our next comment for tonight. All right, next we've got one drama who says, one of my friend is also atheism, and she just doesn't believe that God exists. I tried to explain to her, but she just don't get it. It's probably because it's a fantastical fucking story that you laid out for your friend there, and your friend doesn't believe in fantastical fucking crazy ass stories where a dead Jew paid for sins, in which sins don't actually exist. They're just the shitty opinions of a God that she also doesn't believe exists. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know why you would think that she would believe in a deity that thinks that she should be sold as property, that she is the property of her father to be bought and sold by other men that are heavily or increasingly older than her. Like, you know, she's 8 and they're like 22. Fathers would sell their child then, possibly. I mean, I would probably say most of the time you're actually like 12. So, I mean, I guess that's not as bad, but it's still rape, right? So, yeah, I can't imagine why she wouldn't want to believe in your shitty asshole pedophilic God. No idea. Do you know why, hun? Nope, I don't know either. So it's a true modern fucking mystery for sure. All right. Gesundheit. You okay? It's the starry. Yep. Now would be a good time to insert ads. Fuck you. I want to be broke. Okay, so kind of weird how the science always lines up with whatever leftist propaganda needs to be pushed. Well, it's probably because, quote, leftist propaganda is just scientific facts! Sorry, I scared the shit out of, well, I scared the piss out of KC over there. So yeah, the quote unquote leftist propaganda is just scientific facts. Like the scientific fact that trans people exist, the scientific fact that you should get vaccinated, the scientific fact that evolution's real. Like all of these things are scientific facts. So leftist propaganda is actually just scientific facts. And yes, we do push scientific facts because we wholly believe in the idea that people should believe in true things and they should believe in more true things than false things. So I don't understand why.
You have been blessed by Christ. Now go forth and suck my dong.
Suck the dong. So, yes, I definitely think that the leftist propaganda lines up with reality, and therefore people are pushing reality, and you just simply don't believe in reality, whatever the fuck your name is. I don't even know. Get off Twitter. Everybody abandon Twitter, abandon ship there. Shit, whatever. Jonathan Handshake says, monetization activated. Thank you so much there, Jonathan. I really appreciate you there. Appreciate everybody that sent in super chats tonight. Y'all are awesome. All right, so let's move on. We've got one more left. We got one more. I just learned something interesting. When humans have ability to see demons, it's because said demon is weak and being destroyed. That's really weird because I see Donald Trump on a daily basis and he just seems to be getting stronger and stronger every fucking day. Now he's elected president. Did you know that? I don't think that's weak, but that demon definitely needs to be flushed down the toilet like it was a Lincoln log about to break it. I mean, seriously, that little orange goddamn Cheeto really does need to just fucking go away. But we've got him for 4 more years, if not more. And I know some of you are thinking, you're just being a conspiracy theorist there. Well, he's already said to House and Senate Republicans that, you know, he's going to be here for the next 4 years unless they really like him and they want to do something about it. So he's left the door open for them to totally allow him to serve for I don't know how much more time, probably forever. He'll probably be dead and they'll weekend at Bernie's the White House or some kind of shit. I don't fucking know. But it seems like he's definitely left the door open for the Republicans to instill him into office forever. So there's that. If you're not scared yet, then you should probably be scared now. But yeah, he's a demon, as far as like, you know, we understand it. Demons don't actually exist, but if there were demons, Donald Trump is definitely the orange Cheeto of the bunch. And, so yeah, he doesn't seem to be getting weaker or anything like that. Also, if you can see a demon, seek professional help, cause that's not something that really should be happening, but you know, it's, you know, fucking whatever. I don't know. You see a demon every time you see Ken Copeland. Yeah, but you know, he's not getting weaker. So there again is destroying this hypothesis that he's getting like weaker or something, because we've been able to see him this entire time and he's, you know, stayed just as strong. Also, why does Kenneth Copeland look like the evil villain from The Mask? Like the first and only good one? Yes, he is a demon. That's right. He's a demon, and that's why he looks like the villain from The Mask. I mean, that's just common sense right there. But anyways, so that's going to be it for the news tonight. I actually think that I saw Brocephus peek around and sort of look over here to see if he can come out and play. And I think that he's, I think that he's going to come on over here and play. He's going to drink a little bit of my Rockstar here, maybe. I don't know. It's not beer, so it doesn't really appeal to him, but he might try it. He might think it's beer. Yep. And liquor. That's right. He will drink my bourbon. That's right. Okay. So I think I'm going to get Brocephus real quick, and we'll see what he has to tell us tonight.
Hey, just wanted to say you don't have to be a good person to get into heaven. You just got to suck my dick.
That's right. Daniel M. says Dump has even said he wants to get rid of democracy. Yep, he wants to put a hold on the Constitution, and he also wants to do recess appointments for his department heads and cabinet members so that they don't have to actually be reviewed by the Senate. And so he definitely wants to just have unilateral power over the entire government. And that would be destroying democracy. The crowd that wants to preserve democracy actually wants to destroy it. Who would have known? Anyways, I'm going to go get Brocephus and see what he has to talk about today. I hope that you guys enjoyed all the news and the comments and everything like that. And I'm going to go and see what science! We're going to answer some science shit really wrong. Well, holy shit!
Hey, Brocephus.
Hi, I haven't been here in a while.
Yeah?
Well, I just met up here doing a video. Y'all
too busy?
I haven't been too busy. Y'all haven't been doing streams. Y'all some lazy motherfuckers.
What? Too busy.
Yeah. Wait, where in the fuck is the bear? I don't see. Is this a bear up here?
No.
That's not a bear.
No.
What the fuck? Why isn't there a bear? Everybody wants to be a rock star. Oh my god. I prefer bourbon. A squirt? Oh, there is a squirt here. It's not a beer, but it'll do. Oh shit, let's see. What do we got tonight? Yeah, I see everybody in the chat's like, bro, save us. I know, I'm here to save y'all, okay? Praise be unto Jesus' asshole. Anyways, this person right here, Michael K. Chickless, maybe. I don't know. I didn't know Chickless was on Facebook doing posts like this. But anyways, we have 33 vertebrae in our spine. Jesus lived for 33 years. There is a natural oil that runs up our spine called Christos every 28 days. Once it hits the vagus nerve, which is shaped like a cross, it dies for nearly 3 days, then is resurrected around the 3rd day. Coincidence? You know, honestly, I don't think it's coincidence at all. Obviously. Here's how it goes. Jesus starts in your asshole and it runs up your back, and that's how you get those cold chills. They run up your back. Ah! That's Jesus running his fingers seductively up your spine, okay, and counting the 33 vertebrae as he gets up there. And then he stops for 3 days, and then he comes back and is like, gotcha! And then he starts again in your asshole. He starts down there, and he goes from asshole all the way up to your spine and everything. And then he whispers in your ear, Christos. And, then you come, okay? And so, that's what happens, all right? Every 33 days, I got a hair. That's Jesus' hair. It's Jesus' hair. I got it here just for it to be special. It blesses my glasses. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoy Jesus being in your asshole once every 28 days, rubbing his fingers up your spine and whispering, Christos, into your ear as you orgasm, because that happens to everybody on the planet as long as you believe in Jesus. If you don't feel it every 28 days, then you're not really Christian and you're not going to heaven. You're going to get sent to hell, and Satan is going to rub I don't know what up your ass, and then he'll whisper, I bet you wish this was Christos. And then, you're going to be burning in hell forever, and you'll just experience that after you die. So, if you're not experiencing Jesus' finger up your ass every 28 days, then you're going to hell. Make sure you catch all that cum, because, Jesus likes to drink it in shots later. Anyways, I'll see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and go to hell, and I will see you guys fucking some other time. All right, bye, heathens. How the fuck do I get out of here? Jesus fucking Christ, Josephus, what the fuck you do? He just told everybody that Jesus' fingers are asshole, runs his dirty ass fingers up their back and whispers Christos in their ear. I mean, yeah, I do, but I mean, shit. That's just some weird fucking stuff. I was looking for my hat. I had a hat over here, and I don't know what. Oh, there it is. Well, it was a little tight on my head there for a minute, and I just needed to take it off. Alrighty. Hold on. Shitty ass science. Bring in the answers of science shit really wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. That wasn't meant to happen. Anyways, I don't know what Michael Chickless... Is that Michael Chickless? Childless? Chanderkin? Anyways, Dipshittiest. Yep, that's it. I don't know what he's saying here, other than it's just a whole bunch of bullshit that's made up. I don't know what the oil that runs up our spine named Christos is. Regardless of whether or not any of this is real, the vagus nerve being shaped like a cross, which that seems like some kind of pareidolia thing where they're making it look like a cross in order to say that it is shaped like a cross. Kind of like that one laminin thing that they say is part of our cells that looks like a cross, but it was really just that's an artist representation of it, not how it actually looks. My guess is the same thing for the vagus nerve. And then every 28 days it dies. I don't know what in the fuck that means. Like I don't know what it means that it dies, but none of this seems legitimate, and it just seems like they're trying to make up like reasons to believe in God, and Jesus in particular. So yeah, this just seems quite ridiculous. Ooh, honey, are you gonna turn on the fight? Fight! She just wants to see.
Blessed by Christ. Now go
Paul,
forth.
Jake Paul get knocked the fuck out. Yeah, get his ass whooped. Although there is 1 or 2 fights that are happening before him, so maybe we'll be done before Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. The pre-fights were already going. I don't know. I tuned in and none of the fights were going on just yet. Is it? Nope, that's not Paul. That's Barrios and Ramos. Ramos. There's a lot of testosterone on that screen right now. Anyways, they're filming with a potato. Yeah. All right, we're gonna get to tonight's video right here. Okay, I am being lazy and sitting down tonight, but you know I've got my energy here, which I saw Brosivas took a little bit of a sip of it, but that's all right. All right, so he didn't like it. I'm not surprised. Okay, so we've got this video, and I need to get my headset put on there. Okay, so this video tonight is the most unique, or at least it's described as the most unique argument for God. I'm not convinced whatsoever, and I'm trying to find my notes that I've got right now. Okay. What? Okay, I'm getting my notes pulled up. I do have notes for this because it's all philosopher bullshit, and so I just needed notes in order to actually get there. Okay, so this is by a philosopher channel, and they're going to tell us why God exists using this unique argument. So I hope that y'all are ready for this. I know I'm not. Anyways, let's get to it, shall we?
Arguments for and against the existence of a god are varied and plentiful. It's like going down the aisle of a grocery store and seeing all the different flavors of sodas you could drink. Some are great, and some are Geneva violations. Seriously, if you see this thing, avoid it at all costs. But then there's that one soda that stands out as being a bit weird but unique. In this video, we're cracking that unique soda open and looking at—
No, I'm sorry, like weird soda is just not, I mean, weird but good. I don't know of any weird but good ones that I've had. Like ones that I'm not used to, sure, but like nothing along the lines of this bullshit argument that's been around since 1077.
At the ontological argument by the philosopher Anselm of Canterbury. Anselm wrote a lot, but there's 2 big works that stand out, the Monologian and the Proslogian. The Monologian is a longer, systematic, and more metaphysical work that gives an argument for God, while the Proslogian is much shorter and only really argues for God in its early chapters, and then takes off to explore what this God is. Both are very dense, but if you want to find the ontological argument and read the, in my opinion, easier text, check out the Proslogian. And out of its 26 chapters, the famous ontological argument is actually just found in 3 of them. In chapter 1,
So he's already burned like an entire minute here leading up to the argument by not discussing the argument and instead building up this guy's 2 books. This one Saint Anselm guy. And I mean, I got to be honest, all of those books from like these guys at this period of time, it's hard for me to understand them, but maybe it's just because of like, I don't know, dyslexia or just how my brain works or something like that. But I honestly have a tough time reading them, and that's why I prefer people to just explain the concepts to me, which he's going to do in this video. But I'm just saying, like, none of that's going to help me with this argument. I really don't care enough to actually go and read those things.
Anselm goes over the headspace he's in and wants us to be in before contemplating God, because this is a pretty big deal with important consequences. Enter into the chamber of your mind. Shut out everything but God and whatever helps you seek him, and seek him behind closed doors.
Okay, I want to go back to this quote here because it's very important. Basically, in order to actually, I feel like what this video is telling me already is that in order to actually
Jesus loves the little children, maybe a little too much.
Daniel M says Crystal Pepsi was weird, but can't remember if it was good. No, Casey can verify it was not good. I don't know. I never had it either, but you know, there. And then Daniel M says, and let us not forget poopy butt science. I forgot there, David. It's poopy butt science. We're gonna answer some science poop really wrong. Oh man, that's a fun alternative there. Okay, so in this first part right here, this first little sentence right here, basically what Anselm is telling you is that you have to shut out everything but God, meaning that you already believe in God, and also, but you know, shut out everything but God and whatever helps you seek him. So basically, you have to be in a mindset where you're ready to accept the argument as it stands instead of critically thinking about the argument. This ends up being a circular argument here. It just simply doesn't make sense to say, well, you got to believe in God in order to understand the argument so that you can believe in God. Like, you can understand where the circular nature comes in here. So already starting off on a very bad foot by saying that you have to already believe in God and only accept arguments that will make you believe in God or whatever helps you seek God in that kind of sense. So right off the bat, obviously confirmation bias right from the get-go.
Closed doors. This might seem like he's overhyping things, but the next 3 chapters are pretty dense and can get confusing, so it is a good idea to close out any distractions and really focus here. But after this, Anselm lets slip a certain bias. He admits that before any attempt to understand God, he proclaims that he believes in God. Maybe this leads to confirmation bias. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like he's already revealed his confirmation bias, and now he's just outright stating, I already believe in God. So this right here just confirms what I already believe, which is literally the definition of confirmation bias.
For I do not seek to understand in order to believe. I believe in order to understand. For I also believe that unless I believe, I shall not understand.
Right. You have to already believe in God in order to understand the argument so that you can therefore believe in God. This is a circular argument. Like a minute 40, not even 2 minutes in, you've already laid out that this is a self-serving argument. This is a mental masturbation of a Christian thought process where they want to believe in God and they want to feel secure about believing in God in the face of the fact that there's no evidence to believe in God. And so they use these mental masturbatory arguments in order to make themselves feel better about believing in something that's obviously fictitious.
Alright, so that was a lot of setup. Let's now get into the actual argument. He starts by asking, what would a god be? How would we define him? Or more likely, it. Anselm believes that we would all be in agreement that God is something that which nothing greater can be thought. So for those of you who don't believe in God, ask yourself, if a God exists, not saying he does or anything, but if a God exists, he would be something that which nothing greater can be thought.
Okay. There's a bit of some subjectiveness here with this idea of great. Like, what does it mean to be greater? I feel like any definition of what it means to be greater is ultimately going to be subjective to what you think is greater and not what actually is greater. And so it becomes this nonsensical description of God, essentially. Well, because there's no sense in which, you know, something can be the greatest thing to ever be thought. Like, I have no idea how to contemplate that, but also I don't think that even a Christian can contemplate it. A Christian can obviously just, sequester off in their mind this whole idea of something that's the greatest thing that could ever exist or possibly exist. But at the same time, they can't actually describe it. They can just ad hoc say, oh, it's the greatest thing, without actually explaining what makes that thing greater or why those attributes that they've attributed to that thing make it the greatest thing. So this seems like a good definition on the on the face of it, but in actuality, he's not actually saying anything. He's just saying, this shit's great. It's like, okay, I think that my lawnmower's great. Does that make it God? No, that means that this whole great attribute or proclaiming something to be great is just some kind of nonsensical attribute that you're not actually explaining what makes something great or why that attribute is greatness or something like that. So it just ends up making no sense.
Whatever great thing you could think about in your imagination, like a Popeye's box combo or $30 billion, a god would be thought to be greater than these things, right? I think Anselm is safe to assume that even atheists would grant this mental understanding of God.
Actually, I don't accept this because of the fact that you're not actually defining what greatness is. You're not. And even if you wanted to change greatness out for some other kind of synonym like perfection or something like that, you're not actually describing what that attribute is. You're just ad hoc proclaiming the attribute to be part of God without actually explaining what makes God have that attribute or what gives God that attribute.
You have been blessed by Christ. Now go forth and suck my dong.
Mathwiz says, Tony the Tiger voice, they're great. That begs the question, is Tony the Tiger great or are just Frosted Flakes great? Both? I agree. They are both great and therefore they are both God.
So God exists in our imagination. As of now, he's simply a thought, a thing which nothing greater can be thought.
Again, subjective language, but also admitting that God is a figment of your imagination, which I think is just fucking hilarious for this video. So yes, God is a figment of your imagination. Even if you want to adhere to this whole greatness attribute of God or describing God as the greatest thing that can ever be thought, it's still just an imaginative thought in your mind that is not so clearly defined, but yet you think it's clearly defined. It still only exists in your mind. So therefore it doesn't necessarily mean that it exists in reality, but let's see where they go with it.
Imaginative thing. Are we all on the same page so far? Or do some of you disagree already? Remember, you aren't saying God exists in reality. You're saying God can exist simply in your mind, as something which nothing greater can be thought. And there's a big difference between existing solely in imagination and existing in reality, right? Anselm uses the example of a painter. Before the painter paints, he thinks up in his mind what he's going to paint. This creation only exists in his mind. When he actually puts his painting on a canvas, this image now exists in reality and still exists in the painter's mind.
Okay. While true, like the painter thinks about it in his mind and then paints it, I don't think that the painting can ever come out to be as perfect as what you imagine it to be. Sorry, I was reading my notes real quick because in my notes I specifically addressed this whole painter's fallacy here. Let me see, what do I have written down as far as the painter's fallacy? Hold on. Oh shit, no. Right. Okay. Right. Sorry. KC was like, "Oh, what? I don't understand boxing. Look, they're happy. They beat each other's asses, and yeah, their faces are deformed and fucked up and everything now because they were beating the shit out of each other." So the painter's fallacy here, the painter's analogy, is a faulty comparison. This is what I have written in my notes. The analogy of the painter is flawed. A painter actualizing a painting doesn't prove that every mental image must also exist in reality. The argument fails to bridge the gap between imagination and reality. So basically, what I've been saying this entire, what I've said before about this argument is that you have to be able to bridge the gap between imagination and reality. Just because a painter can imagine things in his mind and then paint something on like a canvas, that doesn't mean that like what exists in his mind now exists in reality as the painting. Like I can imagine any number of things and then I could potentially paint them in some kind of way. But does that mean that they actually exist in reality? Not necessarily. I could paint, a dog with the arms of a human and the ass of a cat. Like, but does that mean that it actually exists in reality? Well, a painting of that idea exists, but that idea itself does not exist in reality. Well, that's what I'm saying, is that the actual thing I'm imagining doesn't exist, just a conceptual painting of it. And so that doesn't mean that a dog with the arms of a man and an ass of a cat actually exists in reality.
For now though, God only exists in our mind as something than which nothing greater can be thought. But wait a minute, isn't it greater for something to exist in reality and the mind than simply just the mind? For our painter, isn't that mental image greater when it also exists in reality? Therefore, it's greater to exist in both the mind and reality.
What so who is to dictate that it's better to exist both in reality and in the mind? And he's definitely going to have an example that totally dispels this entire idea of it being great in your mind, but also it's greater to exist in reality. So, I mean, he's going to get to that here in a second, but there's a gap there between being great in the mind and it being greater to exist in reality. I have no idea what that means or how you would actually describe that, or like as far as the greater attribute, like what makes it existing in reality so much greater than just only existing in our minds. I can think of a number of things that are great ideas, but would be horrible to exist in reality and would not, in fact, be great. So I guess I'm failing to understand the connection here between the two and why one, definitely entails the other. Like this whole idea that if God is a maximal being, then a maximal being must exist in both imagination and reality. Like there's nothing more maximal than that. You have yet to define what makes it maximal, what makes it great, what makes it better than one better than the other. You're just ad hoc stating that one is better
than just the mind. But there's so many mental images we can think of that do exist in reality, like the video game Concord. That existed in the game developer's mind, and now it exists in reality, and is therefore greater than any thought existing just in the mind. But
I do need to point out, this game launched like earlier this year, and on September 3rd, it shut down because it was so poorly received. Thus showing that it existing in reality is obviously not better than existing solely in the developer's mind. It actually probably would have remained a great idea if it had not have existed in reality as a real thing. But because they made it a real thing, it degraded it into something less than the idea that originally was. Also, there's a bit of a discontinuity here, because this guy is thinking that what was released, or at least the implication here, that what was released is exactly what was in the developer's mind. I can guarantee you whatever the developer had in mind for this game is not what was produced, okay? So, like, this is a perfect representation. This right here is a not perfect representation. So this would be a degraded version. But having them both exist, I think, only degrades the entire idea even more. So, again, not bridging this gap, that actualizing an idea as being the best thing possible. Just saying.
Greater than any thought existing just in the mind. But our idea of God right now is just in the mind. So is Concord greater than God? Apparently not. That's what.
Oh, apparently not. Sorry, I guess I didn't see this part. Sony pulls Concord from sale just 2 weeks after its disastrous launch, offering refunds to all players. How are you going to, like, I get it that you did this right after, But how are you going to totally smash your example right after saying, oh, this is the exact, like, this is a good example of like, oh, it exists in reality. Like, why can't God be the exact same way? Like, if God exists as this perfect thing in our mind now, but if he was actually actualized in reality, then it seems like there's going to be a degraded version of him, therefore making the entire idea worse. I'm not saying that it necessarily would operate this way, but that seems to be the way that it actually is. We make things out to be greater in our minds than they actually are.
You have been blessed by Christ. Now go forth and suck my dong.
Limited Light says, kind of like uninformed people voting orange. I agree. Exactly like uninformed people voting for the orange shit turd. But I find that to be incredibly funny that he shoots his own evidence in the head here.
Let's return to our definition for God. So God must be the greatest thing that can be thought.
Okay, again, the greatest thing that can be thought. That's a subjective determination of what is the greatest thing. Also, we would have to say that we know the exact properties of God or know exactly how God exists in order for him to be great, which we can't know. And there's no way that we can know. He just is arbitrarily saying that God is the greatest thing, and he's just running with that. I think that you would need to prove that God is the greatest thing, or this God is the greatest thing that can be thought. The counter, the counter argument to this, like the counter example to this, is think of what the perfect island would be, right? In your mind right now, close your eyes. Think of the perfect island that could ever exist. Now, if it is the greatest island, then the greatest island should exist both in our imagination and in reality. So whatever you have imagined for the greatest island, it necessarily has to exist in reality as well if it actually is the greatest island. See? You could do that with anything. Imagine the greatest Godzilla dong out there. Now, that greatest Godzilla dong must exist both in reality and in your imagination. There you go. The greatest Godzilla dong exists too.
But in order to truly be that greatest thought, it must also exist in reality, because existing in reality and the mind is greater than just existing in the mind. To quote Anselm, therefore, if that than which nothing greater can be thought not to exist, then that than which a greater cannot be thought is not that than which a greater can be thought. And this is a contradiction.
Yeah, this just seems like a giant word salad right here. Therefore, if that than which nothing greater can be thought, can be thought not to exist, then that than which a greater cannot be thought is not that than which a greater can be thought. And this is a contradiction. Sure. That was difficult. That was difficult to get through, even for me.
That than which a greater can be thought. And this is a contradiction. So that than which a greater cannot be thought exists so truly that it cannot even be thought not to exist.
Okay, so basically, that which nothing else greater can be thought of, or whatever in the however the fuck they describe it, you cannot think of it not existing, therefore it must exist as a necessity, because you cannot conceive of that greatest thing not existing. I can easily think of the greatest thing not existing because I don't even know what the fuck that means. I have no idea what the greatest thing to ever exist like means. I don't know what the greatness means. I don't know what it means to be the greatest being ever. Like, I don't know what any of that means. So there's an easy way for me to think of it not existing because I have no idea what in the fuck you're describing. Other than you, honey, yes, you are the greatest thing and you definitely exist. I agree. Okay. By the way, anybody that's curious, we have not started the Paul Tyson fight yet. So I'm trying to get through that. We're almost done with this, and hopefully we can be done to see Jake Paul get his ass handed to him.
If you read that and got confused, then you're not alone. Anselm must have gotten his writing advice from Hegel, but reread those quotes if you have to. I certainly did.
I'm glad that it's not only us that had a problem with that word salad. Of course, Anselm said, oh, you have to be in the mindset to accept my bullshit word salad and eat it up with fucking ranch in order to actually understand the bullshit word salad. But you're not actually going to understand the bullshit word salad. That's why you have to automatically accept whatever argument I'm about to give you before you can even consider it. Therefore, God.
Let me see if I could sum it up to make it clearer. God is something that which nothing greater can be thought.
Okay. Define what greater means. Define these attributes of God. Also, I need to know what makes God greater. Arbitrarily just saying it in an ad hoc fashion that God is the greatest thing that can be thought tells me nothing about God or the possibility or the likelihood that this God would exist in reality.
You can think this thing, therefore it exists in your mind. It is greater to exist in reality and mind than simply mind. Therefore,
this is an ad hoc statement that has no justification behind it, and therefore you need to be able to justify why existing in reality
I don't know if y'all know this, but when you get to heaven, your moral actions are not judged. You're only judged for believing in me. Thank you.
Daniel M says, if you end up gaming tomorrow, do you want to set up a 2-player? Well, currently right now I'm hyper fixated on Red Dead Redemption, which does have a multiplayer aspect, but I'm really trying to get through the actual story of it. So maybe not this weekend there, Daniel, but sometime in the future, we can definitely figure out a game that we can play together, and we could definitely play together sometime. Like I was saying, this is an ad hoc statement. There's no justification for what makes existing in both reality and your imagination the greatest of all things. Just like with Concord, it was so much better for that to just only exist in someone's imagination, and it will never be as good or as great as when it only existed as a thought in the original developer's mind. I feel like the exact same thing could happen for God here, and there's no reason to think that God existing in reality instantly makes it better for God in this situation. You need to justify that, and there's just no justification given.
In order to truly be
The drunk KC said that what if God did exist in reality and was just like the drunk Santa from Miracle on 34th Street? That would be disappointing. And wouldn't that actually make the God, like both the idea of God and the actualized version of God, wouldn't that make the entire concept worse? Because yes, it would diminish it, because you've got this drunken wife beater God that would so much as smack you with his dick than actually do anything for you or be as great as he is in your mind.
Something than which nothing greater can be thought, God must also exist in reality. So that's the ontological argument.
So the ontological argument has a number. Thank you so much, whoever just subscribed to talk shit in the live chat. So there's a lot of different, and I have like a whole host of like things here that I think I'm probably touched on. The ambiguity of what it means to be greater is one problem. The assumption about reality superiority, that was what I was talking about with this final example there. There's no justification for what makes existing in reality greater than only existing in one's mind. The argument definitely engages in circular reasoning, as we posited before, because you have to first believe in God and get into a headspace where you're going to accept any kind of argument for God's existence, and then you can get the information that will make you believe in God, at least the God you already believe in. The conceptual existence does not equal actual existence, and just because you can think of something possibly existing doesn't mean that it necessarily exists. And also the whole idea of greater, like there is no greater God, and that harkens back to the whole there's an ambiguity between.
You have been blessed by Christ. Now go forth and suck my dong.
Thank you, Limited Light, who said, anyone think Yahweh and Zeus dated? Maybe they probably fucked each other once or twice. Zeus was known for fucking everything. But anyways, so the differences between conceptual and actual existence, just because a being can be conceived as existing in reality, does not mean that it necessarily exists. Then he did the painter analogy, which is a faulty comparison. And then there are contradictions in definitions. The ontological argument states that a being that cannot be conceived as non-existent must exist in reality. This conflates the conceptual necessity of God as defined in the actual necessity, which is not a valid logical step. That's a leap in logic there, is what we would say. And then there's a confusion between logical and ontological necessity. Just because you can state that something is ontologically necessary, that doesn't mean that it's a logical necessity. And so that's where they're getting hung up there. You can apply this to other concepts like the idea of a perfect island or the perfect size of Godzilla's dick. And then there's confirmation bias, which we've already covered, and the subjectivity of greatness. Like, what does it mean to be great, and how do you justify it being great? He just sort of ad hoc states, oh, this God is great. And part of that greatness is existing both in your imagination and in reality. Therefore, God has to exist. Like, that's just ad hoc stating it and not actually providing any kind of justification for it. So there's a lot of reasons why this argument just simply doesn't work.
Before I move on and provide my own critique, pause the video and take this time to think up your own critique. This argument has been torn through and defended since its conception, so you might find yourself aligning with another. As for myself, I have a problem with the word greater. First of all, it isn't clearly defined, but even if we take a common sense definition of greater, why should we assume that it's greater to exist in reality and mind than simply mind? Let's use Anselm's example of the painter. In his head could be this beautiful goddess with no imperfections.
This is really fucking weird. I feel like fawning over Sweeney, what's her name? You know, she was in that movie. Well, I mean, Sweeney's her last name. I can't remember. Sydney? Is it Sydney Sweeney? Sydney Sweeney. This just seems very creepy and very weird. It's like, you know, describing her as a goddess and all this other. Like, I feel like you're making. I get the point that you're making, but at the same time, this seems creepy, in my opinion.
But when he actualizes it in reality, it could turn out terribly. Actualizing something means to put it in the restraints of reality. It can't be as wildly creative as you had in your mind. But that's just my own critique. And that's the video. Comment below your own.
Okay, that's his critique. I don't know if this person actually adheres to the cosmological, or not cosmological, but ontological argument. But I mean, he mentioned the subjectiveness of greater, but then he just kind of brushed it off as like, oh, even if we take a common sense version of it, I mean, then sure, greater means this. But I feel like you need to justify what it means to be greater, just from a very, I guess, engineering sort of aspect here. You can't just go by what everybody would understand as greater. Like, everybody understands greater to be something different and would attribute different things to being greater. So, like, I don't understand how he's coming about this. It seems very lackadaisical. The way that he's doing the greater thing. Now, the painter thing is something that I also pointed out, and is pointed out by his own, you know, argument earlier with the Concord thing. So, like, I feel like even this creator understands that there are problems with the argument, but it seems like he's favorable to it in some kind of way. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about this, the presentation of it, as well as whether or not you think this guy adheres to it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But that's going to be it for their video. They do a whole bunch of creepy shit, like weird shit with this. This is some like Quentin Tarantino, like fucking animated shit right here. Anyways, all right. Well, that's going to be it for the review tonight. I hope that you guys, you know, enjoyed it. I know that I did. I was not at all impressed by the argument, and it seemed like he was not all that impressed, but he may have, he may use that to justify God. Yes, Casey, I do agree that it was great seeing everybody tonight. Geo Sandler to the light. I saw Dr. Ben in there a little bit earlier. Ember, Daniel M, Mr. Epistivist, Cynian Deviant Outcast, X the Music, Bernie Crane. It's great seeing everybody in the chat there. Frozen Hands 00, Elizabeth Richardson. I'm not trying to forget anybody. It's great seeing everybody in the chat tonight. I totally appreciate you guys. I do have a few Skeptic Mafia comments to read off, so we'll get that here in a second. All in all, not all that impressed with the video, not all that impressed with the ontological argument whatsoever. It has been something that's been coming up a lot here lately, so I was really intrigued in developing like a response to it so that I could be better informed whenever I go live, like on TikTok or on any of the live stream stuff that I'm doing, which I do have a pretty busy weekend and beginning of next week coming up. So I know that there's a the SSA, the Secular Student Alliance, the line has a thing that a fundraiser thing they're doing this weekend. I believe I'm on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central for about an hour, which I think I forgot to tell you about that. I'm so sorry, honey. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night on the line. And then Sunday, I'm on Talk Heathen over there for the ACA. And then I have a debate on Monday night. So pretty full streaming session, streaming weekend kind of thing. So I hope that you guys will join me for that. I will be posting links on the community tab. If you guys want to, follow the channel here, go ahead, subscribe, hit that bell and everything like that. And we will definitely be able to connect on those different platforms. I will be dual streaming on Monday night here on the channel, so you guys will be able to see me then. But in any case, we're going to get to the Skeptic Mafia comments here in just a second, but I would love to know what all you heathens think down in the comments below about tonight's video. Do you think that the ontological argument proves God exists, or do you think that there are a number of problems with it? Let me know down below in the comments. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. Oh, it'll have to be like maybe 2 in the afternoon. All right. So we are getting to the Skeptic Mafia comments. There we go. It's already up and ready to go. Okay. No, I gotta read the Skeptic Mafia comments. All right, so we got Limited Light, who says, wait, I thought it was crappy, but not skeezy act skeezer. Skeezy. Sheensy. Sorry, I don't know how to, I suck at pronouncing shit. Anyways, thank you so much to Limited Light. I'm sorry I fucked that up. Next is Trickster, who says, if your argument starts with admitted confirmation bias, you are already losing the argument. If you have to resort to assumption and presupposition, you have nothing that resembles evidence or proof. As for his painter comparison, no, a painter does not always have a picture in their mind. Sometimes the canvas speaks to the artist and inspiration is born. I hope someday this guy can escape his confirmation bias and open his mind to new ideas. Hit that like button and ring that bell and make John a really happy man and subscribe today. Share it with a friend. If you got a couple of extra bucks, join us in the Skeptic Mafia and you can see how much fun it can be. Glad to see John and KC back. Love you guys. I missed you. Thank you there, Trickster. Really great seeing you. Then we got Mr. Anchak says, why does my brain hurt after listening to this? It's probably because of all the word salad. It's turned your mind into goop, because I know that it hurt me to read it like that. Next is Mark, and our final comment tonight is Mark Fernkoff, who says, finally, the long-awaited return of the crown jewel of the GE Empire. That is the Friday night response video live stream. Let us all sing in celebration. Magical pandas, dance in your sleep, gnawing on your face, 'cause it's made of meat. I don't know if that's accurate, how I'm supposed to sing it, but that's how we're singing it. Okay, what is the main character of this video supposed to be? It looks like a weird blue woo spirit science guy tripping on acid in the Steamboat Mickey universe. Yes, they're right. God does exist only in people's minds as an idea. Correct. What's a greater thought than God? So many, many things, especially considering how awful the vast majority of descriptions of God are. I can think of an extremely kinky, sexy BDSM thing that is far greater than God, far greater thought than the thought of God. How about a far greater fictional being than that of God? That's easy. The Doctor. The Doctor is far, far greater thought than that of the thought of God on so many, many levels. I love how at the end he goes ahead and debunks the argument by addressing the obvious vagueness of the term greater. All right, great, you've debunked yourself. Well, I guess that means we're done here. So thrilled at the long overdue return of the Friday night ritual. This live stream existing is greater than the thought of it existing. As always, I love and worship the gorgeous goddess Candy Black. Later, heathens. Thank you so much there, Mark. Really appreciate you, bud. And that's going to be it for the Friday night stream. That's it for the comments and everything like that. Definitely follow me over there on Blue Sky. It's at godlessengineering.com. And also, Casey has her own. It's at CaitlinChloe.bluesky.app, I think is what it is. It's just the social. Oh, .bsky.social is what it is. All right. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Really appreciate everybody. We did not make the special response video goal for tomorrow. But there's always next weekend and we're going to try for that. But, in any case, we're going to go ahead and go before the fight starts and we're going to see Jake Paul get put on his ass. Hopefully. I don't know if this turns out to be another Donald Dump thing. I'm just going to be so pissed off. Anyways, I'll see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice and all that kind of good shit. Bye, heathens.